Hi, listeners. This is Deborah from Mystic Wolf Soulcrafts, and I'm here with Allison from Atlantis Rising Crystals today. She's a hypnotherapist and specializes in past life regression and inner child work. She also has a web shop with all kinds of cool stuff with esoteric and mythological designs on it. And welcome everyone to Mystical Tea Time, where we drink tea, we talk about all kinds of things ascension and spirituality related. And we're going to be talking about hypnotherapy and past life trauma healing and the rise of the Atlantean frequency. For those who know me, welcome back. And for those who are new, my name is Deborah, and I'm a multidimensional channel, healer, intuitive artist, and writer. And yeah, I met Allison on Instagram, and I can't remember if she found my profile or the other way around, but we connected on Instagram and we started messaging back and forth. And we soon realized that we both had a passion for past life regression. So, yeah, I did an animal communication session with her cat Edgar, who also has his own Instagram account. Definitely go check that out. And so yeah, I knew I had to bring her on the podcast, so here she is. Okay. Yeah, so welcome on my podcast. Yay!
So exciting.
Yeah, and it's super exciting for me because I'm super into past lives and regression and reincarnation, and to find somebody that's as passionate about that stuff as I am, that's super exciting for me too.
Yeah, dude, because I'm so lonely. It's like I can talk to my boyfriend about stuff, but he never experienced it. And so I'm like, I don't really have friends that are into it. And my mom's into it, but she hasn't experienced too many of her own. So it's so exciting to have someone to like talk to about the same stuff.
Yeah,
Lonely out here.
yeah, I've been I kind of rolled into it, like not on purpose, but I've told you before, I had spontaneous past life flashbacks basically, and I'm like, what the hell is this? What's going on? But it's weird because when you're in like the experience, you can say like you can even tell like, oh, that person is now my husband. That person was is my mom right
Yes.
now, and it's weird. You just know everything.
From their soul imprint or like their aura or whatever.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then I had that happen for one lifetime, like a really old lifetime back in Scotland. I was living in Scotland as some kind of druid lady, I told you before. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I saw myself. Well, this is her. For people listening, they can't see, but this is actually the portrait I created after I had that experience. And then I looked
That's
at it later, like that can't be right. That's not me. I'm just making that up. But there's too much detail, like in
yes.
the story. It all like, oh, my screen went weird again. Why does it keep doing that? Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so there's all these details in the story that I could never have made up.
Yeah, because past life memories are just like memories from when you're like a kid or something. They're just as vivid and you can feel all the emotions and you can be transported right back to the exact same time because your soul is where that memory is stored. That's how
Yeah.
you can access
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. To me, that's
it.
really what it feels like. It's crazy, but then you just look different. It's like your memories from
Yes.
before you were in this body. You just have a different body.
And like in my very last lifetime, I carried myself the same way as I do now, like the way I walk and my gait and everything. Except for I was like this really tall man. I was like 6'3" or 6'4" and like a big, beefy, stocky dude. But like the way I walk is how I
Yeah.
walk now. And the very last thing in that lifetime, like as I was leaving hypnosis, he like zoomed in and all I saw was his eyes and he said, "I am you and you are me." And
Yeah.
it just made me cry so hard because it's like, oh my god, that's insane. Like I lived as this man in the 1940s when I died, and here I am again, and I have like recollection and I have memories from them, which is wild. That was my first experience. It was so crazy.
Yeah, that is super crazy. Yeah, there's only been one, I have one lifetime that I remember where I was a man. And I was kind of angry because it was like I saw this scene of like a battle scene, and I was fighting with a sword, like in the Middle Ages, and I was fighting, and they just killed my brother in the battle. So I was just
Oh,
killing everyone. I was just like raging. I was furious, just like I don't care. I'm gonna die. I might as well take a bunch of them with me. That's kind of the energy that
wow.
I saw. And I know that I've had like anger issues as a child. I was always angry. And like everyone is just always against me. I have to fight my way through life kind of energy.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
seeing those past lives, it all, you can put it all together like a puzzle.
Yeah, because it comes back in this lifetime to work out the karma to let it go and release it. Did you ever find out who your brother is? If he's in this lifetime, is anyone that you
Yeah,
know?
he's my partner right now.
Oh wow!
And he had the
And
same anger, and we've both like let go of a lot of the anger since we got back together.
that's so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people come in all different types of relationships. That's so cool. That's so interesting. So you saw it and you instantly knew, yep, that's him.
Yeah, I recognize, and yeah, it's also around the time that I started reconnecting with him that I had that memory.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's super interesting. Well, but for people listening, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you decided to dive into hypnotherapy and past life regression.
Sure. It's been like a lifelong thing. I was born in Moldova, and out there, like gypsies was a thing. And my mom would take me to them to get tarot readings, and they do like spiritual things. Like they had stones all around me and would sage me and like clear my energy. So since I was a tiny little kid, like that was just normal part of life. And I've had my tarot read many times from the time I was little. So I was always drawn to that. And I was like a goth kid growing up, and I was into tarot and astrology and typical goth stuff, and it just never left me. But then my first past life happened. Oh, maybe let me go back a little bit. I was in a relationship, and it was pretty bad, but he was leaving, and like a week after he left, I woke up and there was like this light coming out from here, like in a circle, like there's pictures of Jesus when the light is shining out, and I had this huge light there, and there's two seahorses. I was like, what the hell is this? Because I wasn't spiritual yet. Like I was open to this stuff, but I wasn't connected to myself at all yet. And it was like this huge bright light came out from my chest area. And ever since then, everything started changing. Like before he left, he had Dolores Cannon books, and I was reading them. And I think like Dolores Cannon is what ignited me and like restarted me and helped me connect to who I am, because my life completely changed after I read her books.
Yeah, Dolores Cannon for me is one of my main inspirations too.
Yeah, yeah.
I
She
think,
like
yeah.
blasted my whole mind and life open with this kind of stuff. I always knew about past lives, but sitting there reading them, I was like, this is the most interesting shit I've ever heard. Like this is amazing. I want to experience that. And then a little bit after that, I went to massage therapy school, and in there they like we watched The Secret, so I was exposed to that. I was exposed to color therapy and Ayurveda and like just different modalities. And then immediately after I finished that, I went straight into hypnotherapy school. And from there, like everything completely changed my life forever. Like before, I didn't know how to deal with emotions, or the fact that there are more emotions than anger. Because like growing up Russian, that's how we express it. We're just like, we just yell and we have. But understanding like, oh, I have feelings like shame or insecurities, and that's coming out as anger, it completely changed like my whole outlook, and I was seeing deeper things, and I could start working on stuff. And like little by little, it just unfolded, and more like became evident. And yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, that
we were
sounds
talking.
super interesting. But yeah, in my experience, well, it was the other way around kind of for me. I had spontaneous like flashbacks. And well, I started like developing more spiritually, and I took an angel communication class, like this 6 month long course with a mentor. And during the class, I started opening up more, and I started getting like a lot of flashbacks, and I could immediately tell that it was past life stuff. And then I started, because I was like, okay, I'm getting all this stuff, but I don't know what to do with it, and how is it coming to me? Why is this happening to me? So then I found Dolores Cannon, Brian Weiss, those two, and I started reading their material and watching a lot of stuff on YouTube. And then I was able to like consciously go back to past life. So before it was just happening spontaneously, but then I kind of taught myself how to, like, I kind of just regressed myself, but I didn't really go to any school or anything. I just started experimenting.
Yeah, it's so interesting. For me, it's the opposite. Like, I learned it first, and then I started getting spontaneous ones here and there. Sometimes it would come through dreams, and other times just through meditations, or if I'm just sitting there or in a car driving by and I got triggered by something, and I could see, it's like I could see beyond the veil, and it looked different for a split second, and I could sense what the energy was like in the 1920s. Like, we went to this beach out here in California. It's a really funky, weird beach. There's like no one around, not a single person out there. But when me and my boyfriend went there, it literally felt like the 1920s. Like, it had a different feel, and I felt like I was in the 1920s, only in that beach. So I wonder if they like have, I don't know what. It's a weird little funky town, and it made me feel like I was transported back in time. It's super cool.
That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I've heard about who was it that do you know Alba Weinman? She's on YouTube. She's a hypnotherapist, and she kind of combines QHHT, Dolores Cannon's Q. She combines that with Brian Weiss's technique, and she films all her regressions and she posts them on YouTube. And she had a lady that she regressed, and she kind of had that same experience where she was in this town, and it felt like she was in a different time, like dimensions were overlapping, and she was suddenly
Yes.
like in another dimension or time or something.
Yes, and just for a little bit, like one time I was in a car and I was driving by this place that I drive by all the time, and everything turned like sepia color for like 30 seconds, and then it went right back. And I could tell what it looked like in like the 1800s. It was, I don't even know how that even happens, but that happened to me maybe 6 times throughout my life in random places.
Yeah,
Very
I
crazy.
think when you're open to energies, you're able to perceive all kinds of different like subtle energies that other people can't, just because you're open to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's pretty
exactly right.
crazy. It's like when you visit different countries. That's been my experience, because I've, for those who don't know that are listening, I'm from Belgium originally. Then I lived in the US for almost a decade. Then I moved back to Belgium. But I spent a lot of time in Arizona, and in the desert in Arizona. And when I would be walking there sometimes with nobody around, I felt like I was transported back sometimes to like Native American early days, like when there weren't any white people yet, and it was just, it felt super like ancient, and you could feel the energy of the native people when you
Yeah,
walk around.
it was like that in Pennsylvania too, because there's just nothing but woods everywhere, and I felt like I was transported back to that time
Yeah.
when I drive. It's so crazy. I guess stuff like holds energy, because I grew up in Baltimore, and they had like the this thing called Soldier's Delight, and Gettysburg was like right near there. And there's what was I gonna say about that? Lost my train of thought.
That's fine. We're just going with the flow today.
Oh yeah, because there's so much dense energy there, because there's so much like war and murder, that it's still in the air. Like when you're in that area, you can still feel it just being there.
Yeah.
It's called Soldier's Delight. Oh, I gotta show you my cup that I got today. How cute is this?
Oh, that's a super nice little like cauldron type cup.
Yeah,
A little
it's so
witch's
cute.
teacup. That's awesome.
Oh, makes me happy.
What kind of tea are you drinking? Because this is called Mystical Tea Time, this podcast. So
Yes.
you have to drink something, some kind of tea.
It's called Grumpy Dinosaur, and it has peppermint, spearmint, and vanilla bean.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm drinking my coffee still. I'm kind of cheating. I'm not drinking tea. Yeah, if anyone is hearing noise in the background, it's my baby throwing toys around. He's always here somewhere when I'm recording. Yeah, but yeah, that's another thing. Like our children, you don't have kids yet. Well, you have your pets, and they also can be like people or animals that we've met in past lives. But our kids too. It's crazy because when they were born, both of them, like I looked into their eyes, and the first thought I had was, I know you. I've met you before.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's amazing. Can't wait.
yeah, when you have kids, then that's the first thing that when you look into their eyes, you can tell like, hey, where do I know you from? I know you really well. I just can't remember where I know you from.
It's wild. Did I ever tell you about the story about the daughter I don't have yet, but I know is coming?
I think you told me a little bit on Instagram. Yeah, for those listening, I actually met Allison on Instagram. Um, yeah, her Instagram name is Atlantis Crystals Rising. Is that right?
Atlantis Rising
Oh
Crystals.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I just woke up. Whatever.
Oh,
My head's not really working. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so yeah, I met her on Instagram. We started talking, and what was I actually saying? I think I was talking about Edgar the cat. Yeah, yeah. So I did a reading on her cat, an animal communication reading, and in a past life he was in Atlantis. He was some awesome, super awesome cat being, and he's back now as a regular cat because he wants to be with her, and they have a contract to be together to support each other in this lifetime because that's what they did back in Atlantis. So pets will be with they want to be with you again if they have experience with you from past lives and they want to reconnect with you, then they'll be born into your life again. They'll incarnate as your dog or your cat or something. And it's the same thing with children. We our children, they're part of our soul family basically, and we have this like big bubble of soul family members, and we all kind of take turns all the time. Well, you're better at talking about all this than I am, I think, because you're the you're the regression specialist.
oh, you're doing a fine job.
Yeah,
But the
so
day that I got, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that was all. I'm listening. Go ahead.
The day I got Edgar, because we have two other kitties, and we went to the store to go get them some food, and I had a feeling that day, like it was such a strong, insanely strong feeling. And I walked into the store, and there was like 25, 30 little kittens, and this one was all by himself in a little cage taking a nap, and I like locked eyes with him, and the woman who was his foster parent asked if I wanted to hold him, and as soon as I picked him up, he pressed himself against my chest and started purring and hugging me, and I was like, okay, just sign me up, I'm getting this cat now, it is what it is. And like, he's so special. Like, it was such a strong feeling that whole day until I got him finally.
Oops. Yeah, that's okay. I just had to get up and pick my baby up. He was crawling away. Like I said,
So,
combining a spiritual journey and mothering. Yeah, that's super awesome. That's kind of the same way out like it went with my dog. I wanted a corgi, and I knew that I wanted a corgi. I don't know why I wanted a corgi specifically. Never had a corgi before, didn't even know the breed before I got him, but I wanted one. And I found this lady, and she just had a litter of corgis, and
oh,
she wasn't even that far away from me, and she was selling them for like not even that much. So I go over there and I'm looking at all the different puppies, and then there's this one on its own sitting there, and he's just looking at me, and I didn't even notice him, and he just comes walking up to me super confident, and he just like walks in front of all the other puppies and just sits down and just like looks at me like, "Oh, here you are. I've been waiting for you." Oh, okay.
what's
Finally. Yeah, and it's super funny. And then my husband well, now ex-husband, he's like, "Look, this is the one you're supposed to be getting." And I looked over and I looked at him and I'm like, "Oh my God. It's you. You're the one I'm supposed to be getting. Oh, okay. And yeah, I looked at him and it's like I've met you before. I know you.
That's so cute. Who was he in the past life?
Well, I know he's been a wolf in one of the past lives that I've had as one of the, like when I was a druid or a witch, he was a wolf, and I used to do animal communication in past lives too. And I remember that I was able to communicate with the animals around me, and he wasn't really like part of, like, around me, really close around me, but we lived in the same area, and I was aware of him and he was aware of me, like in the area, and we respected each other kind of. But then
Yeah.
in this lifetime he wanted to experience me from like closer by. He wanted to like have a closer relationship with me, so he decided to come in as my pet, basically.
That's so
And he
cute.
still thinks he's a wolf, even though he looks ridiculous with his long sausage body and tiny short legs, but he acts like a wolf. He acts like a tiny long wolf.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
So random. So when you saw Edgar, you saw him as a cat person?
Yeah, kind of
And
like
like I guess
a feline, like extraterrestrial maybe being with like a cat head, but like a body of a human. And I know
because he's
that,
not a protective cat at all. He's like he has the most strongest personality I've
mm,
ever met in any animal in my life.
yeah,
So
because
that
he's more than just a cat, and he's aware of
yeah,
his other aspects that he has elsewhere. He's aware of himself in Atlantis. He may be aware of himself in other galaxies. And he knows, like,
yeah,
okay, part of me is in this cat body here on Earth, but I am over there and over there and over there being super awesome. So he's
yeah.
he's
He'll treat
aware
you like
of, yeah.
royalty.
And he's also
Yes.
he was very aware that I was trying to communicate with him, and he was very like excited about it. I didn't, yeah, I forgot to tell you all this stuff. He's like, "Oh, finally, you're here to talk to me. I was expecting you. Oh yeah, here, this is this cat tree that
Oh,
I'm gonna be getting. They ordered it for me. This is this cat tree. Like he showed me the tree, the cat tree, and he said,
wow.
I want to get this cat tree. It's gonna be super fun. And then you tell me later, oh, I got him a cat tree, but it's not, it hasn't arrived yet. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
he was showing me a cat tree. So yeah, now I get why he was showing me that.
It's so wild. Because the reason I reached out to Deborah is because my cat wakes me up every morning at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. And I didn't understand what is going on. Like, I play with him lots right before bed and I try to wear him out. I give him dinner so his belly's nice and full. And no matter what, he always wakes me up. And then I had the reading and it was his birthday and I bought him this huge cat tree, but it was going to be late and I felt so bad. So I was apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. I love you, but your gift is coming late. And I guess he understood this whole time. And he was like, where the hell's my damn tree? And now, since he has the tree, he hasn't woken us up until 8 a.m.
Yeah, that's
So now he
awesome.
waits.
Because now he's getting like more stimulation. He's not bored anymore. Because that's the thing. A lot of the time, when people reach out to me for an animal communication session, they're expecting some kind of elaborate, dramatic explanation, and often, oops, wait, hey, oops, and often it's just something really simple, like I want to change what I'm eating, I don't like this food, or I'm bored, I want more mental stimulation, or but sometimes it's also something more serious, like past life trauma. Animals have past life trauma too, or like like if it's a pet from a shelter, trauma from being with the previous owner, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And off, yeah, that's usually what's the problem, that the problem with pets, when the owners reach out to me. Yeah, well, my brain's not really working yet. My mouth is like just stuttering.
Mine's not either because I've had a long day. So, like, you just woke up and I'm, like, ready for bed. So, like, my brain's, like, trying to wind down. But, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess what I wanted to say is I think people get confused of why I have it, why my business is called Atlantis Rising Crystals. I'm not selling crystals right now, but it's from my past life, and this was during a meditation that I saw, and I could, I was in Atlantis, or maybe even before then, but I could see like the molecules and the ions in the air because the vibration was so much higher and it wasn't dense that I could see molecules just like floating around. And they were huge crystal mountains. Like instead of the mountains we have, they were made out of crystals and they were everywhere. And it like radiated this different frequency. And that like always stood out to me. And so as soon as I saw that, I already knew like I'm gonna have something called Atlantis Rising Crystals. And then the other thing was when I was massage therapist, I was working with 150 other therapists. And in meditation, I asked, what is the karma with me and all of these therapists? Like we're all together here in this place, in this time. What's our karma? And what I got was we were all there when Atlantis fell, and we're all gonna watch it rise back up.
Wow, that is super awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. So all these healers, we're all healers then, and now we're all healers again, coming back in these crucial times. Which in 2020 we can see why.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, because Atlantis, that's, well, what I've been getting intuitively, and also what I've just been hearing from others that really resonates with me, is that we're basically entering this period of time that's very similar to when Atlantis fell, because of like all the stuff that's going on politically, and they're trying to introduce all this artificial intelligence stuff, the microchipping and whatever, and the vaccines and all the stuff, and they're trying to introduce all that stuff, normalize it. And back then in Atlantis, people like us, like the priestesses, the seers, the people that the healers, all those people were trying to do the opposite, and they're trying to like restore the balance of the healthy, spiritually healthy human being. And we're still like right now. That's why I started this podcast. I'm not perfect. This isn't perfect quality recording either, but it's helping people little by little and getting the message out there, and that's how you get a snowball effect, and all these other people are gonna start awakening, and they were gonna try to like counteract that weird political and just weirdness that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, I know since we've been talking, my energy feels so much better and clearer just because I have someone else to talk to, and like I can expand my frequency and be with other like-minded people, even if it's on the internet.
Yeah.
Because before then I was such a hermit. Like I don't tell anyone this stuff. I don't tell anyone like my beliefs. I just keep it all in. And once we started talking, it like completely opened up my vibe again. So it definitely is working for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing in real life. Well, real life. This is real life because everything is energy, and basically this is just as valuable of a connection as a real life in person connection is.
Yeah.
I think anyway. And in real life, I do have a few people over here that are really interested, like, and more people I feel are opening up, but it should be like everyone. It should be just normal that you can talk to everyone about this stuff. Like right now, I do have my partner who's also on his own spiritual journey in a way. It's not really identical to what I'm going through. He's going through his own thing in his way, but he's open to spirituality, and we're able to talk about past lives and stuff like that. So I have him. I have my mother who is also open spiritually and to angels and all kinds of stuff. So that's nice. And I have one friend who's really into also animal communication and law of attraction. And that's really nice. But then the rest of the people around me, I kind of have to like watch what I say so that they don't think I'm some kind of crazy person. But well, then there's this yeah, my baby's like, and what about me? You can't talk to me? Yeah. He's gonna grow up. These kids are gonna grow up just thinking it's normal. Both of my kids, they're gonna grow up thinking it's completely normal. Like my daughter, she talks about past lives, and she talks about light language and stuff. Like, yeah, she makes up language basically, and then I'll tell her, oh, you're speaking light language. That's just language from wait. Oh, come here. Whoops. Okay, yeah, so she basically she taps into other languages from other lifetimes, and that's what a lot of kids do. And I don't know if I've told you before, I'm writing a book about spiritual parenting. And in my book, I'm writing about children and how they will, like, they have crazy imagination, and parents are going to be like, oh, you have to stop making things up, you have to stop imagining things. But it's actually just them remembering past life memories. A lot of the time, they're talking about past lives, or like in between
Yes.
lives, or like angelic dimensions that they remember.
Yeah. When I was a little tiny kid, I kept telling my mom that I'm a man. She's like, no, I'm pretty sure you're like a little girl. And I was like, no, I'm a grown man. And she's like, okay, sure. Because my last lifetime, I was a grown man when I died, and I was still
Yeah.
connected to that. So for sure.
Yeah, that's why we,
That's
we
why.
have to pay attention to what our kids are trying to tell us, because there's actually truth. That's what came to me
Yes.
yesterday too. Like, imagination is actually you just channeling. Like, if you
Yeah.
imagine something, it happened. Like, it's real in some reality. It is actually real, and you can't just make up stuff from nowhere that doesn't exist somewhere. So imagination comes from somewhere. So these kids, a lot of the
Exactly.
time, they're just remembering stuff or tapping into stuff, and we have to like take them more seriously. And if we start listening, then we will actually be able to learn something sometimes. Like, she'll
That's
tell
the way
me,
of the future.
oh, sorry.
Oh, I just said that's the way of the future. That's how it's going to be. There's going
Yeah.
to be new ways of parenting, new ways of schooling, new ways of working. Like with, I don't know how you feel about 5D and the Earth and stuff. I could talk about that freaking forever.
Yeah.
But like, it's going to be a whole new change, a whole new system, hopefully within our lifetime. I think so, because if I saw that Atlantis is rising, we're going to witness some really cool stuff in this lifetime for sure. Like reemergence of old tech. I don't know if you know anything about like Tartaria and all that stuff too. That's like
No.
a whole nother conversation.
No,
We'll
I
have to
do
talk
know
about
about
that
like crystal, like that's what, have you read the Convoluted Universe? I'm sure you have, Dolores Cannon's book. She talks about that
first
too,
one.
the like crystal energy stuff, like the sun charges up this really huge crystal, and that basically provides energy for the whole city,
Yeah,
stuff like that. And the thing is, it is already, it's been invented already, but it's being like
yeah,
pushed back by the existing powers that are at
yeah.
play. They don't want that stuff to be known by the public.
Well, they inverted. So what used to be Tartaria and like I think they ended around the 1800s ish. And if you look on old maps, the 1800s, 1500s, Tartaria was everywhere, and it wasn't like one place. They had like um, sects all over the world, and they were Tartarian. And it's just like Tesla stuff. Tesla just re-tapped into the old technology. He just channeled stuff that used to be here before, and that's how it used to be. And there was grids, and on top of ley lines, they had their what are they called? Obelisks and other energy devices, and it would transmit energy. And around the globe, it would all be activated at the same time. And now what they did is they inverted it so that negative energy comes out instead of all the positive energy.
Yeah,
And
that's crazy.
all they have to do is switch that back on, and then we can all have that again. There's a place I think in Germany, it was like the happiest zoo on earth, because their tower or something is still operating, and they have these ions all over in the air being I forgot, I have like diagrams of how it works, but the animals are the happiest that they are there because the energy is different, the frequency is completely different, and they're emitting a specific frequency on purpose over there, and people can do that. Like the technology still exists, we just it's suppressed
Yeah, that's
and
super
inverted.
cool. Yeah, if you have some like documentation on that, you can send me that, because
Yeah,
I'd love to learn more about that. That sounds super interesting.
yeah. So what was I going to say about that? I keep losing my train of thought.
Yeah, anything you want to say about Atlantis, or anything about past life stuff, just go for it, because I'm super interested in hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, so the last lifetime in Atlantis that I saw was I was like a scribe or a records keeper, and I knew they were going to come and get me and take all my stuff, and they were going to kill me. But the only thing that I cared about was I had this huge, enormous fish tank with these seahorses in there, and they were like human sized, like how I am now. But I think people in Atlantis were a different frequency, and they were like way like giants or something. because the energy was completely different on the whole earth. And either way, I had a tank of seahorses, and when they opened their mouth, a frequency would come out and it would turn to light. Because I think once you get to a certain frequency, the sound turns to light, and their mouth would open, and like light was coming out, and it was like music. It wasn't like like a little chicken or nothing like that. It was like a frequency, and
Yeah.
like melodic was coming out of them. And the thing I was sad about was I knew that they were going to kill them, and those seahorses were never going to be alive anymore. Like I knew Atlantis was going down, and it was all going to be destroyed. And they burned me at the stake, and I saw my body above. I saw my soul above my body, and I was like burned and charred to a crisp. And I was just so sad in my heart about my seahorses. Because like I knew I was going to die. I was like, whatever, I'll be back. I don't care. But like the seahorses were never going to come back.
Whoa, that's so cool. And the thing is, somewhere in my soul, like I recognize that. Like I'm like, yeah, that's true. I remember like seahorses or animals. Like just the image. I just got this image. Even like as you're talking about it, I saw these seahorses and like opening their mouth and like with the frequencies, I could actually see it in my mind's eye. That's
And
crazy.
they were like Edgar, like how my cat, he
Yeah.
might be a seahorse or something. Like they were kindred spirits, and I had a whole tank of them, and I love them so much. And I would just be sitting there doing my scribe work and writing down all the stuff, and they'd be sitting there singing, and there's light shows coming out of their mouth, and all this beautiful music and tones coming out, and the whole vibe was different because the energy was different all over. So everyone's thoughts are better, everyone's emotions are better, their body's functioning better when everything is tuned. Because right now everything is not tuned. It's specifically adjusting your frequency, especially with like wireless stuff and
Yeah.
all the 5G and 4G and all this stuff. It's completely altering our natural like magnetic energy in the world and our energy that we emit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's important, I think, for people, especially when you're like doing spiritual work and you're aware of your energy, that you like make sure that you ground and connect to spirit on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be long. You don't have to meditate for hours every day. I don't have time to meditate for hours every day. I have two kids and I work a regular daytime job, and then I have my side business and the podcast. So but the thing is, be present in the moment and be aware of your energy. Make sure, like, ask yourself, are these my feelings or am I being influenced by something? How am I
Yes.
actually feeling right now? And what can I
Yes.
do to connect to source so that I feel pure source energy and no influences from, like, just cleanse your aura every day. Just use intention. Just meditate for like 2 minutes and say, right now I'm allowing source to flow through me and clear away all energies that I don't need or that don't belong to me. Just do that for a minute or two and you'll feel completely different.
Yes. Do check-ins throughout the day. I do that all the time. Like, I'm starting to feel very negative. Are these my thoughts, or am I picking this up in the collective or something else? Because these are not my thoughts. And then you can disconnect from that and replace it with what you want,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm going to bring Edgar up here real quick.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. I want to see him.
So who you're talking to?
Oh, hey. How are you today? He's like, what are you doing? I don't like being on camera. I was just perfectly fine over there where you.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see him. He seems like he's doing okay.
He loves me.
We're talking about you, Edgar. We were talking about Atlantis. For
My
the
little
people,
dragon boy.
people that are listening, they can't see because we're on a Zoom call, but she's showing me Edgar, her cat, who was the feline being in a past life, and a dragon too. Dragons are real, by
Yeah,
the way,
yeah.
people. Dragons are real.
He was like a dragon or a pterodactyl or something. But he was like breathing fire and flying around, and he was like my little baby then too.
Okay, so yeah.
Sorry.
And yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Crystals. Like, you can use crystals during the day or at night before you go to sleep and ask the crystal to help you. Like, what's really good grounding crystals? Like, Do you know some good grounding crystals? Are you?
Yeah, what is it? Tourmaline?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like one of
Tourmaline.
those. Like you ask the crystal to basically help, like get rid of all the energies that you've collected throughout the day that you don't need or that don't belong to you. Stuff like that. So
Yeah,
people can do that too, of
to
course.
transmute it.
Yeah. Or sage.
Yeah,
Of course, everyone knows about sage to clean your aura.
the stage before this. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all
Edgar's trying
kinds
to
of
break.
stuff.
He's so bad.
Well, yeah,
And he's trying to break into
he's
it.
like I'm super awesome. I'm this cat being from all these other places, and I'm here acting like a normal cat, but I have a strong will, and I am gonna show you what my strong personality. Yeah, that's the thing. Anyone that
So
has pets,
strong.
yeah, that is like a little person. He's his own little person.
Hmm. He's relentless. Like when he had set his mind to wake us up, he won't stop. He'll sit there for like 2 hours meowing and banging on the door until we like open it. He won't stop. Like most cats would get tired after 5 minutes. He won't. He'll do it for 45 minutes, an hour until we come out.
Yeah, he's super persistent. Basically, he's yeah, and that's when you reached out to me because you're like, I can't deal with this anymore. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. Well, let me sleep, damn it.
Yeah,
That's so cool. What
yeah,
else?
that's.
Oh, so I think I should probably talk about the past life with the plants because that's
Oh
probably
yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna
something people
say
would be
too.
interested in.
Yeah, because she has a blog post on her website, and yeah, just tell the story. Just go start talking.
All right. So since I was a tiny little kid, I was terrified of plants and flowers, and I just couldn't be around them. They were got too close. I'd want to faint or throw up, black out. And I was 3 years old, and I was walking with my mom, and my mom was pregnant with my sister, and the flower got too close to me from the curve, and I lost my shit, and I started screaming and jumping on my mom, and she fell on her stomach with my sister inside, and luckily everything was fine. But like, where does a 3 year old become terrified of plants and flowers? It doesn't make any sense. And then when I was like in my mid 20s, I saw my past life in ancient Rome, where I was like in the military and I was preaching and I was on a horse and I had like a, what's it called? Like a torch. And I was torching people's houses. I was murdering people. I was raping. Like all the bad things, I did it. And then these two people were supposed to be taking care. I got wounded and they were secretly poisoning me with herbs, like mortal and people, and they were sitting there grinding up herbs. And I think over the course of like 2 weeks or something, I was slowly dying. And I remember throwing up and getting really nauseous and sick and just like puking my heart out. And finally, I died. And in this life, those two people that killed me in this life were my mom and my sister.
Yeah,
And I think we healed our karma because my sister helped me get into massage school, which like completely transformed me. And my mom was here to nurture me and take care of me the way she was supposed to properly in that last lifetime. They murdered me. In this lifetime, she came as a very super loving, amazing mother. We have a very good connection and very good bond. So our karma's cleared. And with my sister, it's funny because my sister was like a doctor in that lifetime. In this lifetime, she's a physical therapist, but she wants to get her doctorate and be a doctor, and she wants to do natural plant medicine. I'm like, you can't make this shit up. I saw this like 10 years ago, and now she wants to do this exact same thing that she did in her past life, but for good this time. So
yeah,
it's just so
that's
wild.
so interesting how
So,
like a lot of the stuff. Like when I didn't want to cut you off. I'm sorry. Were you still talking?
oh, and as soon as I saw that past life, the phobia left. Like one time I was at Home Depot, I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go into the plant section and I'm gonna be okay. And I went there and I blacked out on the floor. I just got dizzy and everything came black and I woke up and I'm on the floor. And as soon as I saw a past life, it completely lifted. Like I still don't like stems, like really thick stems. Sunflowers freak me out a little bit, and tulips. I don't like tulips. But most plants I can touch now. Before I couldn't even close my face to them.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That is so, yeah, because it's like, that's what I was gonna say. Once you realize where your fear comes from, then it almost completely goes away, like
Yeah,
instantly. It's like, I told
yeah.
you the story already. I'm gonna tell it again for everyone listening. When I was about 7 years old, I think, seven, we went swimming with school and we had to jump like in the pool from the edge of the pool into the deep end of the pool, and we had to just start swimming. Like they were like, okay, one at a time, just all jump in there one after the other, and you just start swimming to the other side of the pool. But I could swim and I loved being in the water, but I couldn't jump from the edge into the water. Something about specifically that terrified me, and I couldn't do it. I wanted to do it, but my body was not doing it. I was frozen. I was standing there at the edge of the pool, and I was almost like I was like in shock. I was in some kind of shock, crying, and I said, I can't jump, I can't jump, I can't do it. And like this absurd feeling of I'm gonna die, or this is dangerous, my life is in danger, when of course my life wasn't in danger. There were lifeguards, like people right there, my teachers were there, there were like a bunch of adults surrounding me that could possibly like save me if I was drowning. But some part of me was saying, don't do this. This is really dangerous. If you do this, you will die. And of course, I wasn't going to die. But then I was frozen to the edge of the pool. And yeah, then years later, of course, I find out through a past life regression that that they made me jump off of a bridge into a river, to prove, like, it was during the Inquisition, and they had this big chain around my ankles, and I had to jump. And I'm not sure if it was like some kind of punishment, or they were like doing the witch trials and testing to see if I was a witch, and if I was gonna float or something, then I was a witch, and if I drowned, then I wasn't. But anyway, I died during that lifetime jumping off of the bridge. And then it was like, yeah, of course it makes sense that I was afraid of jumping in the water. And still, I won't, like, now I'm better at it, but it's not something I would ever do for fun, like how these people will like climb up the ladder and jump off of the board into the pool. Like, why would you do that for fun? That is terrifying.
Yeah.
I still would never do that for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's why, especially, like, why adults have to be sensitive to children instead of like, oh, get over it, you're fine. Like, people need to see there's deeper meanings behind this, and there's more connections than is visible. Because trauma is stored in our DNA, even from past lives. Just like if you had trauma when you're a little kid, you're gonna remember it when you're 80, 90 years old. Why would you not remember something from a few lifetimes ago? Your soul's eternal. If you die, it doesn't stop. So it's just accessing, it's tuning into stuff that was traumatic before, and it's trying to protect you. Like, stay away from plants and flowers because that shit hurt last time. So just like don't go near them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
wild.
yeah, and especially when it's something specific like that, then you're like, where does this come from? Because this, like, your rational self knows that it's completely absurd. Like, why am I afraid of a plant? This makes no sense. But it's
Yeah,
stronger. It's stronger than that. It's this really overpowering fear, and it takes over your whole being when it's happening. Then you're like, no, this is all that's happening. I can't listen to my logical like mind right now. This is threatening my life. That's kind of the
yeah.
feeling you get then.
Survival.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get into fight or survival mode, and I'm just like, I'm not. This plant's not going to take me out again.
Yeah. So
It's silly,
when
but it's
like,
not silly. It's so traumatic.
yeah, no, it's you have to take it seriously. And like when you went to hypnotherapy school, and like after, like when you've like done hypnotherapy sessions on people, like what are some of the trauma, or like the stuff that's come up for people that they were able to heal?
Well, I have one where this wasn't a past life. I just gave this girl hypnosis. She was getting it was just a very remarkable story. I'll never forget it. We were both massage therapists, and she was calling out because she like she didn't want to do it anymore. She didn't want to be a massage therapist. She hated it, but she had to make money. And so subconsciously, she made her hand lock up so she couldn't like open her fist because she couldn't massage then. And I was like, I already knew, I could tell what she was doing. She was subconsciously making it so she didn't have to go to work anymore. But when we went into the hypnosis and I like explained this to her, her arm went limp and she felt it completely release immediately, and she could open and close her fist again.
Wow.
Yeah. It was in the session, like her hand was like this, and once I said like the words, it opened and went limp. And she was perfectly fine again.
Yeah,
So,
that's so crazy. How the subconscious
yeah.
mind will actually like keep us from doing stuff.
Yeah. For protection, or if you're not tuning into yourself, your body's gonna find a way to manifest it so you pay attention. Because if her soul is telling her like, yo, this is not for you, stop doing massage, like it's not good for you, you're not happy, your soul's not into it, your heart's not into it, don't do it. But her critical mind's like, oh, but I need my money. And her
Yeah.
brain's like, okay, well, you're not going to go then because I'm going to lock your hand up real quick until you listen to me. And then she quit the job and it didn't happen again.
Yeah, that's how like that's why I love Dolores Cannon. And like
Yeah,
she had a lot of these cases where people have cancers or they have problems like all kinds of diseases. She brings them
yeah,
into hypnosis and she's able to
yes,
solve it on a soul level and they walk out of there perfectly healthy.
yes. Because it's trying to tell you something. If you're not listening, your body's going to. I can, like my brother, he had like acid reflux really bad to the point he was throwing up nonstop. And I just sent him an article because I know he's not really into this kind of stuff. So I just sent him a quick article. And he said it like totally made sense because he was holding on to a lot of sadness and grief. And that was manifesting in his heart chakra and it was making the heart, making it bubble out because he wasn't addressing what was happening. And then once he realized that, I don't know how he's doing now, I should check in with him, but like the realization itself already helped him. He said he didn't realize that his mentality, like his mental state and his emotional state was affecting his physical. But they're always related. They're all connected.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
The
the,
physical is the last way of manifestation. Like if you're not going to pay attention through emotions or through your gut feeling, you're going to feel it physically so you can finally address it and make it better.
yeah, I'm super intrigued by hypnosis and hypnotherapy and not only past life hypnosis, all kinds of hypnosis really, because it just works.
Yes.
It works so much better than like symptomatic treatment where you just treat the
Oh,
symptoms and then it comes back a few months later. It just comes right back because you didn't
yeah.
handle like you didn't tackle the issue that's actually causing all of the symptoms.
Well, the thing is, you first have to be aware, and then once you're aware, you have to integrate it. And once sometimes like with my past life, the integration was just seeing it. All the puzzles came together, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. And it just like literally I felt that phobia leave my body. It didn't live in me anymore. So you have to integrate it first. But if people don't even know what's wrong, like how are they supposed to move on or like integrate anything? You have to first be aware, and then you integrate it, and then you can release whatever the blocks are.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, and so you're working on offering hypnotherapy sessions like remote sessions through Zoom, or you're gonna be doing
Yeah,
that in the future?
yeah, that's my goal is to do it through Zoom.
Yeah,
It's
then
been a while, but like because I'm doing accounting right now, and I got sucked in. I'm like the San Francisco area, and rent is very expensive out here. So I was just so focused on working and working. But now, like my soul is ready to step forward, and now I'm over here talking online, which I never did before. So I think now is just the time to start showing what my talents really are. Like that meme you showed me was the best meme I've ever seen in my life. It was like a meme of this little girl holding a box, and she was like,
yeah, that's the
and
one
it's
I
like these
sent
are
you.
my gifts to the world.
Yeah, soup. Yeah, we're like all awkward about it. Like, okay, we're psychic and we're like past life people. We help you with your past
Yeah,
lives, but we're kind of scared to talk about it. But we're here.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. We
It's a
should.
big
Yeah, we have all these gifts, and also, yeah, we have all these gifts from past lives that we it's like
Yeah.
when you go do a class or you take a course with a mentor, like spiritual development classes, you're not really learning something new, you're reactivating something that your soul already knew or learned in past lives,
Yes.
like you would
Oh, I
with
got
the
another.
yeah.
As you said that, another past life popped out to me. There was this one where my ex boyfriend and my brother in this lifetime, we were all in ancient Egypt and we were inside a pyramid and we were learning to levitate. And they had like a frequency going on. It was like a class, maybe 30, 45 people, and they had a tone playing. And I remember we were in the pyramid and they had like, it wasn't just like this, it wasn't just straight pyramid for those people who can't see. It was like steps on the inside leading up, make so like stuff would resonate. So as the tone and frequency was vibrating in there, if you close your eyes and you tune into it and you start levitating from the frequency.
That's
And
awesome.
my brother and we're all sitting next to each other and we're messing with each other. Like as we're trying to levitate, we're like guiding each other to mess each other up. So we're like levitating, going up and down and like leveling out. But that was really cool. And it was like super dark in there, very cold, and there was like a frequency. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. I love Egypt. Since I was a tiny little kid, I was instantly obsessed with anything to do with Egypt. I was looking at mummies when I was 7 years old, never creeped out by it. Anything about Egypt, I love. Cats and always. So Egypt and Atlantis are like my favorite things. And the medieval times too. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the thing
Definitely.
when you have these interests, like, and nobody else in your family
Yes.
has these interests, then it's probably past life
Yes.
related.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like with me
Always.
too. I had like ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with like anything that had to do with fairies or the forest or trees or just witches and like pagan stuff and like Viking stuff, all kinds of like weird, yeah, typical European pagan stuff. I was super into it. I started reading books about it on my own, like little 12-year-old me was reading books on witchcraft. Nobody, nobody I knew was
Yep.
reading these books. And then of course I have all the past life memories and like the spontaneous ones and regressions where I see myself practicing witchcraft in different lifetimes or like being a
Mm-hmm.
druid or some kind of like nature person talking to the animals and the trees. And then it makes
Yeah.
sense like, oh
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Or like,
And I don't know if Dolores Cannon or someone else said it, but like they say whatever you dress up for Halloween is usually what your past life was.
oh yeah, that is
Like,
interesting.
um, whatever you're attracted to is what you are
Yeah,
or
exactly.
were.
It's like my boyfriend, he's really
Were you
interested in like anything that has to do with Asia and
just like your friend,
and Buddhism.
the
Like,
future?
yeah, he's but that's like nothing that I'm interested in. Like, I'm not particularly interested in like Buddhism or like Asian like kung fu stuff. He's super obsessed with kung fu and Asian stuff, and then I feel for him that he's had many lifetimes in Asia, like practicing Asian spirituality in temples over there, and that's not really been my experience of my soul. Like I may have had a few lifetimes over there, but they didn't really leave a big impression. Not the way that all the European lifetimes
Right.
made a big impression on me. But then that's really what comes
Same.
forward for him. Like, yeah, I'm sure if he were to do a regression, he'd go back to some kind of awesome temple life in Asia, being some kind of monk or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think me and my boyfriend both think that he's from the future coming here now to help stabilize Earth because like he's the happiest person I've ever met. I don't know how he wakes up and he's so happy all the freaking time. And he's obsessed with Japan and Hong Kong and like their level of technology. And we're both convinced that that's just a remnant for him. And it makes him remember where he's from, which is in the future or from like a whole other galaxy. Because he doesn't. I think this is like his second time on Earth. This is his first time on Earth. We were both in Atlantis, and we both knew of each other and we lived in the same little community, we might have like talked here and there. And for some reason, this lifetime, we're supposed to be together because he's such a new soul to Earth, and I'm such an old soul. I've been here since forever, and I haven't met. That in this lifetime, we really like are a good match for each other. Because I help like ground him and like help him learn about old ways, and he helps me understand like futuristic things like technology. I couldn't make a website if I didn't know him. If I hadn't met him, there's no way I'd even be able to do the Zoom call. Like I'm so anti-technology, and it's not natural for me. So that's always interesting too.
Yeah, that is true. Like when people think about past life regression, they automatically think that in linear time, like all the past lives are always before our linear time. What happened today, like anything in the past. But a past life can also be a future life or a parallel life. I made a video on that once. It's
Yeah,
on my. It's also a podcast episode. Actually, yeah, episode 3 or 4. It's about past, parallel, and future lives. How they're all actually happening right now. What's
at the
your
same time.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you're
Do you
yeah,
do you
that
agree
there's
with
no
that?
such thing as time. That's what everyone says everywhere outside of Earth. That there's no such thing as time. So
Yeah.
your soul has little shards of light that's existing at the same time in different dimensions, different realities, parallel worlds. And I'm in Atlantis right now. I'm in ancient Egypt right now. I'm in Rome right now at the same time as this life. That's probably also why we can tap into stuff to heal because it's all happening at the same time. And if we heal it now, we heal that lifetime too. So by me being really close to my mother and my sister, we're healing the karma we had way back when, 2,000 years ago, because it's all connected. And what else was I going to do? Keep losing my train of thought. I'll remember.
Yeah, if it's
Okay.
important, it'll pop up whenever it needs to pop up. Yeah, but that is so true because that video that I recorded, I just spontaneously started recording. It was like something was speaking through me. Yeah, well, it was. Source was basically like you have to get the message out there. Time is a linear invention for us to be able to like have a
Yeah.
coping
Yes.
mechanism to survive in this lifetime. But yeah, it's like all the different lifetimes that I remember. When I go back to that lifetime, I'm there. So it's happening in the moment because there's only this now moment.
Yes.
And then when you go back, that's when it's happening. And that's why when I'm working with like you do hypnotherapy, you go back to you like make people go back into their own lifetime. And the way I work with people is that I will tap in for them and then I make a portrait of their past life aspect, like this person that they were in another lifetime, and then with the help of a guided meditation, they can go back into that lifetime on their own. It's kind of like a mini regression, basically, that you do on your own. But when they're going back, they're in that time. They're not in the past because everything's just happening right now. And yeah,
Yeah. Because there's different facets on the diamond, right? And it's all the little different points in it. But they're all existing at the same time. You just shine the light on one of the other ones. And when you shine the light, it comes forward. So even though I'm alive now, if I shine a light on ancient Egypt, it just makes that picture pop in the forefront and that I can experience it right now. Even though I'm experiencing it at the same time, but in this body, I can tune into it. Just like I'm sure in ancient Egypt or in Atlantis, I could tune into the future of me sitting here right now talking too. It
yeah.
works both ways.
That's yeah, we can communicate with
That's
ourselves basically in other lifetimes. We can just talk to our like other parts of ourselves. Yeah, that's super interesting. When I came to that realization, I was like, that's awesome. So I can heal things in this lifetime by talking to the part of
yeah,
myself that where the wounding began, where that wound like came to exist.
yes,
I can go back, talk to that part of myself and tell her or him it's all going to be okay. You're still here. Your body may look different, but you're still here, and you can overcome whatever is going on there, like in that lifetime. That's what I'm trying to do too for people. That's why I got into offering these portraits, and I'm sure that's why you got into offering hypnotherapy sessions, because you see like how it helped you with the
Yeah.
plants and stuff, like, or you still would have been running away and fainting in Home Depot and or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and I think there's so many
We
people that
have one.
have past life trauma that, yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
and people
really
just need to be
interesting.
aware of it because it helps you heal on such a deep level. Because you're carrying stuff and you don't know what it's from. Like, why do I have this? But once you connect it, you see that it clears it, and you clear stuff in that lifetime and in this time. So you're doing like double. And I remember what I was gonna say. This is gonna be my last lifetime on Earth. I'm not coming back after this. I'm clearing up all the karma from me and my ancestors, and I'm out of this piece. I'm not interested in coming back here ever again. I'm done. I've been here since the beginning, and I'm just so tired. So,
Yeah, I think.
and I think the other thing is when you help other people heal, you start raising their frequency and changing their frequency of the earth. The more people start healing and their vibrations start shifting and changing, that's how everyone goes into the new earth. And I feel like that's why I'm being called to do this now, because now is a critical point in time to help raise their frequency of earth and of all the people on here. And that's just what, that's what I came here to do, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and that's why for a long time, I cared about, oh, what will people think of me? What will they think when I'm like putting all this stuff out there? But ever since I healed that one past life where they threw me off the bridge for basically being who I am, and I healed it because I'm like, oh, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still spreading my truth, so nothing can ever harm me. And I think that's also important. I don't know if you know Steve Nobel. Do you know him?
I've heard of that
Yeah,
name.
he has this super awesome video on YouTube, and it's called.
Oh, he's the one you sent me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He has this thing on YouTube. It's
Yeah.
called psychic protection affirmations, but he basically repeats affirmations like nothing can. There's nothing to fear. You can't be hurt or harmed in this lifetime, or you're here now to spread your truth, and you're here to basically help anchor in this higher vibration, and nothing can ever hurt or harm you
Yeah.
anymore. Basically, I try to listen to that a few times a week to remind myself that in this lifetime, nothing could ever hurt or harm me. And this lifetime specifically, I will not be killed for speaking my truth. And in the past, I may have been persecuted, killed, or like mocked, whatever, um, or cast out
Mm-hmm.
of the tribe, or like stuff like that. But that it will not happen in this lifetime for people, light workers, or anyone that feels like they have to help Earth in this lifetime. I feel there's a specific contract this time, basically a contract that you signed from beyond the
Yeah.
veil. You said, okay, I'm coming in. I will come to Earth one more time because I'm going to help you and spread my light, but you have to guarantee that nothing will hurt or harm me. And then basically, Source said, okay, nothing will hurt or harm you. You're ready to go. That's what I feel this time.
It's strange, but I feel that too.
Hmm.
And you put it so well. I feel the exact same thing. But I still get scared, because it's like I don't want to be shunned and like it's so hard to connect with people. And that's the other thing is we're all spread out all over the world. That's why we feel like we're lonely. Is we're supposed to help raise the vibration in the different areas that we are, and that's we collectively shift all of it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, because we can't just
And
all be
then
in
that
one
reminds me
place. Yeah.
that yeah, because then wouldn't be equal. We have to be spread out and igniting the little lights all over the globe. But I remember the other thing I was going to say. It was about my unborn daughter that I don't have yet. In 2011, I had this dream, and it was so vivid. It was as vivid as a past life. That's how I know it was real. And I was holding the baby. I just gave birth to it, and I was holding it like this. And I was like, "Baby, hurry up! Tell me who you were in a past life." And she said, "In this lifetime, I'm going to be your daughter. My name will be Molly. But I was in a lifetime with you before, where I was your husband, and it was like maybe 1700s, 1800s, and we were super close and super affectionate and loving, and it was just we were just super duper close. And she's coming back in this lifetime to be my soulmate as my daughter, and we're gonna be really close friends and stuff. So for 9 years, I'm like, I know at some point I'm gonna have a daughter. Just not quite ready yet. I know she's over there waiting
The
for me to be
universe
ready. But
will
that's
will come in exactly when it needs to. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. That's the thing with my own kids too. Like I was like with my daughter, where do I know you from? And then I saw that during one of the spontaneous memories in this lifetime with the where I was this druid
oh
lady in Scotland in like 365 or something. Um, yeah, the year
wow.
like past like yeah, super early, like Roman times, pre-Roman kind of. Anyway, yeah, so then I saw myself as this druid, like counselor, spiritual advisor lady, and
Wow.
my ex at the like now ex, he was the tribe leader basically, and he's like I told you during a private conversation, he is this really like outspoken person. He's like a leader type person. Whenever he enters a room, people will automatically like shift towards him, and he kind of just takes charge. And then I saw him as this leader type person, and like everyone was turned towards him and listening, and it all just made sense. Like, of course, that's why people are still listening, because he still acts like when he walks into a room, he acts like he's in charge, and like he gets respect from everyone because he like has this aura of confidence.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
but I was never really intimidated by him. Like all these other people are easily intimidated, but I was never really intimidated. But that's now I know why too, because I was one of the few people back in that lifetime that he would actually respect and listen to for advice. Because
That's all.
I was his spiritual advisor, and my daughter was his sister,
His sister, and she
and she was
came
my
as his.
yeah, and she was my best friend in that lifetime, and his sister, and now she came in as our daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, but they also, that's a
Huh.
whole crazy story because yeah, all kinds of stuff happened back then. And she basically he kind of, well, the thing is all kinds of crazy stuff happened, and she died. And whoa. And yeah, so I blamed him for it, and basically so it was all kinds of drama, like family drama in the early druid times in Scotland. And yeah, so now she came back because she wanted to heal the karma and for everyone to be happy again. And we were not meant to stay together as a couple, so that's fine. And that was all like according to the universe's plan. But we worked out the part that we needed to clear up, and now we're all in perfect communication and we all get along. And that little part has been cleared up, and she came back as my daughter now.
Oh, that's so sweet. And then what about your son?
Yeah, that's the
Did you see
whole.
ones with him?
I have another portrait. For those who are listening, they can't see, but this is a portrait I'm showing her of a Pleiadian man. And this man started showing up in my meditations before I got pregnant. He started showing up. And he was telling me how the Pleiadians were going to help me. They were going to make me more peaceful. They were going to work on my heart chakra and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have any experience with Pleiadians, but that's cool. I'm open to it. And yeah, so they started coming in, and then a little bit later, I found out I was pregnant. And I'm like, okay, but
Oh,
who are you? But there was this soul hanging around, and he was hanging around. But me and my boyfriend were both like, no, we don't. I don't want to have a baby. We don't want to have a kid. We have one kid. That's fine. We don't want another kid. But then, of course, I got pregnant because it was the universe's plan. This baby needed to be here. And then I started tuning in to the soul of the baby that I was carrying, basically, because I wanted to connect before he was born. And I saw this Pleiadian man. And he said, I've been working with your energy to prepare you for the pregnancy. We've been working for a few months now, and I was a Pleiadian in a past life. And I want to be on Earth to spread Pleiadian, like, heart-centered love to help anchor in that Pleiadian higher vibration. So, and a lot of these
Uh,
children, and that's why I'm writing this book too about spiritual parenting, because a lot of these new children, they come from the stars, from these galaxies. They're Sirian star seeds, they're Pleiadian, Arcturian, Andromedan star seeds, and they come here, and they want to help anchor in those higher vibrations, because now is the time
mhm.
for these children to come and to do that. So yeah, when we listen to our children's past lives or we take them seriously, we can actually really learn from them.
Yeah, a lot. How do you channel stuff and how do you know who's talking to you? I like for me, I try so hard and I don't get anything. I can connect to like my ancestors and I can get messages from them. When I try to connect to like Lyrans or Arcturians, I don't feel like I get anything.
Yeah,
How do you? What do
it's
you do?
taken some practice, because when I was younger, I did like spontaneous channeling, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just doing stuff. But then I took that angel communication class that I did with a mentor for 6 months, and that really helped with like clearing the channel basically. So yeah, just setting intention too with like, okay, I want to connect to a guide from there or there or there, or like you can do it two ways. You can set intention in advance and say, I want to connect to the Pleiades, I want to connect to Sirius, or I want to connect to a past life or a spirit animal or whatever. And then you can see what comes up for you, either through feeling or like through hearing or vision, whatever works best for you. Something's gonna come up. Or what I do too a lot of the time is just meditate by listening to like binaural beats, like
Yeah,
frequencies, and I
I do.
just open up and I ask Archangel Michael, because I always work with Archangel Michael to clear the channel, to like clear the energy, clear my aura, and then for whoever has a message for me that I need to hear at that moment will come forward, and then I just patiently wait and see what comes through naturally, what comes intuitively, and I'm mainly clairsentient and clairvoyant, so I will see the image and then I'll ask questions. I'll start a conversation basically like, "Oh, where are you from? Who are you? What is your message for me?" And I'll start getting answers. But the thing is too, we have to trust our intuition. We can't be like try
Yeah.
to overthink it, because then we're going to sabotage ourselves. We have to trust what comes through.
Yeah, so maybe I have been doing because I do all the things you just said I do because I was trying to connect to the Lyrans and I couldn't make a connection. So what I got in response was a bunch of dolphins. It just after I tried so hard to connect to the Lyrans, I was seeing dolphins everywhere. So maybe like who's like what beings work with dolphins?
Atlantis is super connected to dolphins. Sirius is connected to dolphins. Yeah, there's all kind. Dolphins are super galactic beings, so that makes sense. Yeah, that they've been showing up
They
for
keep
you.
talking.
Yeah,
Interesting. Because I was trying to connect to cat people, and instead what I would get was dolphins. So okay, well, I guess that's who I talk to. And like for my archangel, I always talk with Uriel for some reason. That's my connection.
yeah, and that's crazy because you're sitting in front of a red background, and Uriel is connected to the Earth, and his color is like the red ray, red frequency ray.
Oh,
Yeah, so maybe,
didn't
yeah,
know
because
that.
you're grounded, because you've been on Earth for so long, for so many lifetimes, that you're here to ground in all the energies, to really help pull in all those energies and ground it into the Earth. And that's what Uriel is really good at, helping you do that. Yeah.
That and Metatron's been coming up
Oh,
lately,
yeah,
which
because
I don't know much of this, so this is very it's not new to me, but I just never like dived very deep into it, so I don't really know much about it.
yeah, Metatron is basically the archangel that helps light workers speak their truth. So
And now I'm trying to.
yeah, he's been coming up for a lot of people and a lot of the new Earth children that are being born, because he's basically assisting in the ascension of the planet, and the personal ascension and planetary ascension. Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot. I keep having all these awesome memories. There's one meditation that I was doing in 2009. So was this 11 years ago? 2009, I was doing a meditation, and what I saw was piano keys, like the white and the black keys, and someone was playing all the notes. And when I went to the last one, a rainbow shot out and it made like a bridge. And I walked over the bridge and I was in New Earth. And this is before I even read the Dolores Cannon New Earth stuff. I knew what it was exactly. And then when I read her books, I was like, this is what I experienced, because the sound was so high that it turned to light and it crossed me over to the other realm. So I think I've been on New Earth gathering and planting and like doing whatever to set that up this whole time, like when I sleep or something.
Yeah, I think I've been
So
having really vivid dreams too lately, and yeah, we should probably just do a second episode on New Earth
yeah,
and like how
yeah,
3D Earth and 5D Earth are living like parallel next to each other, and how we can like that's what we do. I feel spiritual like people. We
in and
go
out of
back and
both.
forth. Yeah, we go back and forth all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'll get glimpses of these weird sensations, or I'd see little lights and glimmer in the corner of my eyes, and I look and there's nothing there. But in the corner of my eye, I see little purple orbs and like little white orbs everywhere. And my boyfriend sees light shining off of me. He has seen a bright blue, like a deep, bright blue light emanating off of me. And he saw like a teal light coming off of me before too. Off of him, I always see purple.
Yeah, that makes sense because
So
if you're bringing in Atlantean frequencies, then blue
the
and like
blue,
teal, that would definitely make sense. Yeah.
it all makes sense, especially now that we talk, because now I can usually it's all these thoughts are in my head, and this is like one of the first times that's coming out of my mouth. So it's like it's an interesting experience.
Yeah, we've been recording for an hour and a half almost. Think
Yeah,
that we're gonna wrap it up for now,
yeah,
but I am definitely having you on again for another episode because I feel we can talk about all kinds of other stuff still, and that people would love
yeah,
to hear about it also. Yeah, so I definitely want to have you on for another episode, and it was super fun talking to you.
yeah. It was very fun. Now I'm ready for bed. It's 1 a.m. almost,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
well, I'm just
super insightful, and you helped connect some pieces for me that like I had all the pieces, but you helped connect them for me. So it made sense with the blue and with the dolphins. That makes a lot of sense.
before I That's it for this week. I am so glad that you decided to tune in and join us for this episode. I hope that this was valuable because it was really valuable to both of us. I had a great time talking to her, and especially about Atlantis because it's a topic that I have been diving deeper into myself, and I think for a lot of people it's starting to come up more and more, this Atlantean awakening or reawakening of these memories of past lifetimes in Atlantis. And you can connect with Allison on her Instagram and website. All details will be mentioned below in the description box. And I'd love it if you commented so we can keep the conversation going on all of these topics. And if you want to stay up to date on all the podcast episodes, make sure to go to anchor.fm/mystical tea time. There you will be able to find all available podcast links such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more, or subscribe on YouTube. And in between podcast episodes, I also regularly post stuff on IGTV on my Instagram, so follow me there for shorter in between videos. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.